The next area of the administration interface that I want to show you is the widgets screen. So underneath appearance there on the left, go ahead and click on widgets. Now, what the heck is a widget? Well, let me try and explain this here. What we have here, I'm just going to scroll over to the right a little bit here, is we have on the far right, we have sidebar 1, and right now sidebar 1 is empty. And we'll get into customizing this, of course, a little bit later on. And then on the left-hand side, we have available widgets, and it says drag widgets from here to a sidebar on the right to activate them, drag widgets back here to deactivate them, and delete their settings. Now, that doesn't really tell you a whole lot here, but let's kind of scroll down and take a look. We have an archives widget, a monthly archive of your blog's posts, calendar, a calendar of your blog posts, categories, a list or drop down of categories, links, your blog roll, and so on. Meta, pages, recent comments, recent posts, RSS, and so on and so on and so on, right? All the way down. You can scroll down this list and take a look at what we have here, right? But what do they actually do? Well, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to scroll back to the top here, and I'm just going to flip over to my, sort of the front end of my blog, if you will. And I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here, and on the right-hand side of the live blog, we have our sidebar. And inside the sidebar, you can see we have pages, we have archives, we have categories, we have the blog roll links. We've just talked about all this not too long ago, right? So these guys are all sitting inside this sidebar. Well, you can think of these guys as little modules. Each of these items here, the meta, the blog roll, the categories, and so on, are all widgets. They're all sort of independent modules. They're independent of one another. And what I can do in the backend, the admin backend, is I can go and customize that if I want. Maybe I want to have a calendar up at the top of the sidebar, followed by categories, followed by that blog roll list of links, and so on, right? So that's really what widgets are all about. And you can get into customizing them, and you can get into installing additional widgets and doing all kinds of cool things. It's a really neat way to sort of expand your blog and make it look unique. Probably my favorite widget out of all of these guys is the text, using arbitrary text or HTML. So in other words, I could design something in Dreamweaver, for example, and then select all the code and then paste it into my text widget and have it show up over on the front end or the live side of my blog over inside the sidebar. It's pretty cool stuff. The only other thing I want to show you inside this widget screen is all the way down at the bottom we have inactive widgets. We have this little inactive widgets area. Drag widgets here to remove them from the sidebar, but keep their settings. So in other words, if I want to hang on to the settings that I've applied to a sidebar widget, I can drop them in here, and that saves the settings, but it basically deactivates it as well. So anyway, there's kind of a basic idea, anyway, of how the widget screen works.